All right, today we are going to go through investigation 1.2, and we are going to be talking about measures of central tendency and variability or spread, and how we compute and use the mode and the range. Real quickly, measures of central tendency are simply statistical, that's a very mathematical term for statistics. We're going to be looking for things like mean, median, mode, range, minimum, maximum. But today we're simply going to focus on how we can use and determine the mode and range for a set of data. So as we go through here, we are going to look at some 20 new names from the Japanese students. Okay, so we've got 20 new names here, and we are going to be finding the median and the mode for that set of data. So the first thing we're going to do here is we are going to make a frequency table from the information. All right, because that will help determine what I need to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is put number of letters in the column, and then we're going to have a tally column, and then we're going to have the frequency column, just like what we did in investigation 1.1. Okay, and these are going to be Japanese names. Okay, and I realize that that's small, but I got to fit it in there. So we are going to keep going. All right, so the number of letters, we're going to look here. The smallest is 7. I don't think there's anything smaller than that, so we're going to start with 6, 7, and the largest name is 13, 14, 14. So we're going to go clear to 15. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Okay, one above to one below, or one below to one above our names. And now we're going to start adding in our tallies. So we've got 10, 14, 10, 14. Okay, and go ahead and finish the frequency table. Go ahead and pause the video and finish the frequency table for the Japanese. Okay, so now we have there's the bell. Now we have the frequency table all filled out. I can see that the frequency of the names, so we have one that is 7, 2 that go up to as high as 14, and they're just kind of scattered in between. But the most common name here is 12. So I'm going to make a dot plot or a line plot of this information. Now, this is copied from your book, so it already has the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pieces of information. Now, you don't always have to make a frequency table to make a dot plot, but we're gonna use the frequency table to do that. So essentially what they did is they did what we did, and they went through, and for 10, you add a dot at 10, okay? And then at 14, we added a dot at 14. So they went ahead and did that. What I like to do is use a frequency table and then make the dot plot based on the frequency table. So I know I should have 1 at 7. So I'm going to make a dot there. 2 at 8. We already have 2 at 8. So 1, 2. 1 at 9. I should have 4 at 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 at 11. I should have 5 at 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I should have 3 at 13. 1, 2, 3. And 2 at 14. 1, 2. And then none at 15 or above. So, make that look more like a circle. All right, so now we have this. So now I can look at this and I can say that I can find the minimum number. Okay, because in order to find the range, we need to know the two things. We need to know the largest number, known as the maximum, and the smallest number, known as the minimum. So the minimum number would be the smallest, and that is 7. And our maximum number would be our largest, or 14. Now, the range of our data set is the difference between our minimum and our maximum. So 14 minus 7 is 7. So the range of this information is 7. There are 7 pieces of information in our data set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. So there's 7 different possible outcomes here. Now, to find the mode, okay, so this is spread out over the course of 7 things. The mode would be the one that occurs the most. So we're going to look here. 10 occurs 4 times. We can tell that from our frequency table or from our dot plot or line plot. But then we have this 12. 12 occurs 5 times. It's got a higher position on the dot plot. So our mode is 12. Now, mode is one of those things that we could have one. We can have more than one mode. We can have none of the numbers could be the mode. If we have a data set where the numbers are spread out very far and there's not very many pieces of information in our data set, then we can have, no numbers be the mode. But if we have a lot of numbers spread out amongst a small range, it is going to be quite possible to have more than one number that would be your mode. So if we had a 5th person that had 10 letters in their name, then the mode would be 12 and 10. But since 12 is the only one that has 5, and I'm looking through my frequency table, I'm looking at my dots, it's the only one that has 5, then the mode is 12. That's the one that occurs the most often. Now what we can do is we can go back and do this for the Chinese and for the United States names, and then we could compare that. So I'm going to scroll back to those pages real quick. All right, and we are going to find the minimum, the maximum, the range, and the mode for the Japanese. So the minimum for the Japanese is 4, or for the Chinese, I'm sorry, this is for the Chinese. The minimum would be 4. Our maximum would be 9. The subtraction here, 9 minus 4, is 5. So our range is 5. And our mode, we're looking here, the mode would be 6. Okay, because it's the one that occurs the most often. 7 occurs 7 times, but 6 occurs 8, so therefore it'd be the most. And then let's go down here to the United States names, and I'm going to say minimum, maximum, range, and the mode. Okay, and same thing. We're going to go find the smallest number, which was 3. The largest number was 17. So 17 minus 3 is 14. Okay, so that has a larger range than our other two. And then I'm going to look in the table, and I'm going to find the one that occurs the most often. So we got 3, 3. That's the frequency. So 3, 3, 6. So 11 is pretty high. 12 is a little bit less. 13 is close, but still not there. But we're going by the number of the letters, not the actual number over here in the frequency. So since 11 occurs the most often, it has 6, and there's no other ones with 6, the mode for the United States names is going to be 11 letters. So now what I can do, now that I have all 3 Japanese, Chinese, and the United States names, is I can use the range, the mode, and the minimum and the maximum and compare. I can tell that the US names, the smallest that we had was 3, while the largest we had was 17. So that tells me, using the range number, I can tell that those names have what we call a large variance. They vary a lot. Where Chinese names are more tightly grouped. That 30 Chinese students, all 30 of those names fell within a range of 5. So those are all closely knitted together, closely grouped together. So there's not very much variance to the data, and that the Japanese kind of fall in between. They have some that have longer names than the Chinese, but their maximum number is not bigger than the United States. So the United States has the largest name and the smallest, while the Chinese have very small names, and the Japanese kind of have the medium-sized names. We can also tell that the mode, the number that occurs the most, that more often than not, Japanese students could have 12 letters. That tells us, out of that 20 students, that we had a mode of 12. So 12 is a very common occurrence. Where the Chinese, their names, their number of occurrences at 6, the number that occurred the most often, was at 6. So 6 letters was the most frequent. And then for the United States, most of them had, or the number that occurred the most, or was the most frequent, was 11. So there's lots of different comparisons we can make. We can tell who had the largest name, who had the smallest, what the size of their range is in comparison to one another. We can tell that the number that occurs the most frequently, or the mode, we can use that number to compare each of the 3 countries and their average name length based on the information we were given. So all of this is about being able to make comparisons between different sets of information. So go back and rewatch if you need to. I know there was a lot of material in this one, so hopefully I didn't lose you or bore you to death, but yeah. Anywho, so go back and rewatch if you need to, but be able to have both the range and the mode for the Japanese, the Chinese, and the United States done, which will take you through and probably finish most of A in the book. See you in class.